students, welcome to another session. As the professor said, as the presentation slide says, this is the conclusion part of our freelancing series. We started many months ago. It goes back to several months, which means you have plenty of material. Those of you who are just dropping by, and of course, there are a lot of students who keep coming back. Either way, the videos are available in your dashboard and also on the YouTube channel. In the previous session, which happened just yesterday, I talked about how I am using AI in my freelancing life, trying to make my life a little bit faster and better, and trying to make some money as well in the process, using all the AI technology and tools. So we did that, and today in this session, my plan is to sort of summarize everything that has happened. So it's like at the end of the movie, all the characters meet together and say goodbye and stuff like that. So that is what we are really doing here. But of course, so much has changed since I started this series. Like when I started this, for example, the AI thing was not even in the picture. When I started this, it kind of happened by accident. I did one session and then a lot of feedback, and then it became a second session. And then now it's become a full series. And I think it's going to become like a cyclical thing. If I get an opportunity, we'll come back after a break and we'll start fresh with fresh episodes. So same content with new additions and deletions of outdated topics and stuff like that. So anyway, so this is the full summary. Now going back to the very beginning, what is freelance, right? Now freelancing is kind of a middle ground between I think of it like between being unemployed. You could be a student or you could be someone who's graduated and looking for work, and you're not able to land a job for some reason, or you're not able to start your own business or something. To me, freelancing is a middle part between you being a student or unemployed, and then while you wait till you get a job. Now that is where I see a lot of people do freelancing. That is what I have seen in my life. Now, I myself, I'm a full-time freelancer. It means I don't have a job at all. I just do this and nothing else. And that's the third point I'm trying to make there. I don't recommend anybody to try and do what I am doing, wherein you don't have a job, you just freelance. It's not easy and it's very difficult. Somehow it's working for me for a number of reasons, mainly because I think it works for me because I already have a house. I don't have any debt, nothing big or anything. Nothing will end my life or something. So my financials are covered, and luckily I have a good contacts, like friends and people I have met, and I have some talents, skills which helps me get work regularly. So it works for someone like me. But in general, I don't recommend freelancing as a full-time activity. I just want to put that out there for anybody who's thinking you can just do it as a full-time. I would not recommend it. I would recommend it like if you're a student, you want to make some money on the side. That's why freelancing is usually called a side hustle, which is where it belongs. Okay, which is where it belongs. Or while you're a student, you want to make some extra money, or you finish graduation, you're waiting for your job, you don't like to sit quietly, so you want to build up your resume, you want to learn some skills, because freelancing is a great way to acquire some skills, to acquire some clients, because you'll get real world exposure. You may not make that much money in a side hustle, but you will still get to meet customers, you'll still get to meet clients, you'll get exposure to real world problems, real world experience. And a lot of times, many times when I'm working as a freelancer, I've been offered full-time jobs. I always say no because I don't want that. But a lot of times a freelancing can lead into a full-time job, which is an offer you should take, by the way. So that is what I think is freelancing. And you should do it. Why? Simple. It's a side hustle. It helps you make a little bit of extra money. And more importantly, you learn new skills that you probably don't have. But then when you start freelancing, you learn those skills, and if they kind of turn back and start helping you with your current job or future job. So that is what I like to say about the what, why, and why not to freelance. Please don't make it your full-time thing. It may seem fun at first, but as you grow older and stuff like that, a job gives you so many things. You have a regular income coming in every month. You have insurance benefits, you have retirement benefits, tax related, stuff like that. And of course, in an office, you get to meet people and stuff like that. In freelancing, I'm sorry to say, it's a very lonely life. So again, another reason why you should not be freelancing. So freelancing is good. You want to make a side hustle. You don't want to sit quietly when you're employed, stuff like that. Definitely go for freelancing. And as you're working, it's still a side hustle. So you can still work on your weekends. You can work on your evenings and stuff like that. Make some extra money, which will definitely help you with your life. Okay. So definitely, yes, there is a place where freelancing works. So that is where I hope you take all this advice and go ahead and do that. Now, moving on, what are the main websites? What are the main places where I go to, and where do I get majority of my freelancing work? So, number one for me, okay, that is where I met, professor and his university and everything, is Upwork. So hopefully you're taking notes. As always, remember to have pen and paper with you. Take notes as I'm talking. So the first item is Upwork. According to me, it is the number one platform. It is the number one website when it comes to long-term freelancing. So guys, in freelancing, I've seen two types of freelancing. There is gig work and there is long-term freelance work. Now, when I say gig work, a gig work is more like a work that you can get done or you can finish for a client in a day or two, and then the client moves on, and then you move on to another client and stuff like that. So that is what I like to use. That is where I like to use the word gigs, short-term freelancing work. Now, that is something which is really good, like really, really good on Fiverr, which is the second website on the slide. Whereas Upwork is much more into, in my experience again, so I am there on both. Obviously, these are all websites that I use. So on Upwork, I get these long-term customers. Example again is AIU. I met them, I think almost like 15 to 16 months ago. I'm still working with them, and I believe I'll keep working with them for many years to come. So Upwork is an option for long-term work, where you have freelancing work that begins and then it goes on for a really, really long time. I have another customer I'm working with right now. It's a technology education startup. I've been working with them for almost 9 months right now, where I'm working as a content, educational content developer, videos, code, projects, and stuff like that for students. So again, that's going on for so many months, and I believe it's going to go on for another 6 months, 1 year, and stuff like that. So all that is on Upwork. So if you're in the long-term kind of freelance, what is long-term? Long-term is software work, coaching work, design work, things that involve a lot of meetings, using a lot of tools, where you need to meet with the customer. There are deliverables every week and stuff like that. That is what long-term freelancing is. Upwork is a good option for you. Fiverr is more useful for short-time work, design work, like where you have to design like a logo. You have to do content writing, right? Content writing, article stuff and stuff like that. Photoshop related work, where you have a client who's a photographer maybe, and they want some help with touching up their photos and stuff like that. Or maybe website development, like again, I'm not talking about like complex e-commerce site and stuff like that. That falls under Upwork, because that can take many, many months. I'm talking about like a yoga teacher wants a website, which can be built in 2 to 4 hours, literally. So again, so these are all the things short-term freelancing. I call them gigs, are something that work really well on Fiverr. So you ask yourself, where you should be. Now, I am there on both. For me, it works that way because sometimes I get these customers who just want a quick session on a specific topic. So they don't want to hire me for months. They just meet me today, take a session today, tomorrow, and then it's goodbye. I never see them again. So it's still the same coding thing, teaching thing. Sometimes they have a big problem with software. They want 1 hour, 2 hours with me, and then it fixes it's over. So yes, for me, it works both ways, Upwork and Fiverr. But you look at your own skill set, and depending on that, you go ahead and focus on a specific website. Now, the reason why I'm saying focus on one is because you're a beginner. You are short on time. You can focus on one thing at a time. So maybe once you're experienced in Fiverr, you start building your profile on Upwork as well, or maybe you start with Upwork and then build your profile on Fiverr as well. And eventually, over time, you will be there in a lot of websites. So there you go. These are the two important websites. Look at your skill set. Look at the kind of work you're planning to do. Look at the kind of work you're planning to make money with, and then focus on that specific website. Now, along with these two main websites, it's somewhere in India, guys. So I'll be taking a lot of water in. The third website for me, especially for me, is LinkedIn. Okay. Now I talked about this. I believe I'll mention this in an upcoming social media presence. I've made a session about it. So coming back to the first slide here. So what happens is, see, as a freelancer, I've spoken to you that you have to build your internet presence. You have to build your portfolio. Now, how do you share that with your clients, existing clients, past clients, future clients, your students, your mentors, other people who are working with you? How? Social media. Now, there are many social medias that you can use depending on your work. Okay, for me, for my work, I'm a coach, I'm a tutor. For my kind of work, LinkedIn is amazing. Now, if you're in design work, maybe you want to spend more time on Instagram. So if you are more into video editing and stuff like that, maybe you want to spend more time on Instagram and TikTok. So like this, you decide which social media you want to maintain. When I say maintain, I'm talking regular updates, regular making meeting other freelancers, other people who are in the same industry, things like that. So you must have at least one social media presence. Again, social media is just like Upwork, just like Fiverr. You gotta work hard, you gotta plan, and all those things. So if you Google my name, you'll see my LinkedIn. Very active, very active. I always put something related to my work life all the time. Why? It tells my students, it tells my customers, it tells my people. People are looking to hire me. I meet a lot of customers on LinkedIn as well. So I want them to know that I'm active and I have done this, I have done that. So these are the main websites which will help you with freelancing. Along with this, there are other websites, like freelancer.com. I remember I used to use it way back a lot in 2012, 2013. But later, obviously, I found better websites like Upwork and Fiverr. There was another website called Code Mentor, another very good place to find clients and stuff like that. I used to have I used to get a lot of awards and everything on these and on the codementor.io. That's the website. I still remember. I was even certified as a Code Mentor Pro. I even got a badge for that. So that's another website. So like this, there are a lot of freelancing websites, but ultimately there's only so many websites you can use in a day. So eventually I settled down with this. I mean, who knows the future? I might go back to freelancer.com. I might go back to codementor.io or something. And of course, don't forget, whichever country you are in, you have all these job sites. They also hire freelancers a lot. I'm talking contract assignments, like 1 month assignment, 2 month assignments, 3 month assignments. You do all that as well. So in your country, wherever you are, there are these job sites. Like for example, in India, we have this website called timesjobs.com. We have another website called nowkri.com. So like that, in your country, whichever job site is popular, just go ahead and upload your resume, put the links to your Upwork, put the link to your Fiverr, put the link to your LinkedIn and stuff like that. And you get a lot of customers from like that also. But ultimately, those are all, I don't really depend on them. Like maybe in last 10 years, I may have received 10%, 15% of revenue from those things. Most of my revenue comes from Upwork, Fiverr, and LinkedIn. So these are the main websites. So moving on to the next thing I want to talk about. So as you are building your online account and everything, as a freelancer, like if you're gonna do side hustling, if you're gonna have side gigs, you must have an office space. Okay, you must have an office space. That is what I mean by your home office, your work desk, whatever you call it. I've seen people trying to do freelancing from their bedroom or something. It may work for some people. You put your table, put your laptop on the bed, and everything, and just try to work. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. That doesn't show seriousness to me. Okay, so if you're gonna do freelancing, okay, if you're serious about this, whatever, maybe there'll be some cost involved, of course, but you gotta spend money to make money. Please make sure you have a dedicated space. A simple table, a simple chair. If you can't afford expensive wooden tables, then fine. Get a used table. Get a plastic table. It doesn't matter. Get a plastic chair. It shouldn't cost that much. But a dedicated space. You may be living in a small house. I don't deny it. I mean, when I started freelancing, and even before that as well, I was very, very poor. Very poor. Like, no, don't even have money for food, kind of poor stuff. That's the life I come from. So I know there'll be challenges. There'll be always be challenges which will hold you back. But if you don't put the effort, you can't escape those scenarios. Or maybe you're not poor, but you're just trying to make more money, in which case these things shouldn't be a problem for you. And I'm happy you're not poor. If you are, then I'm sorry about it, but you can come out. Again, proof is sitting in front of you. If you're not poor, then great. Make sure you have these things. So home office, a simple desk, a simple chair, at least a good laptop. That's all. That's what I also say. Home office, right? If you can't afford a new computer, then an old computer. But ultimately, eventually, I think I've talked about this. Make sure you have the right equipment. Okay, if you don't have the right equipment, your work will suffer. When I did the session on this home office, I spoke about the importance of having the right equipment. Okay, I remember when I was young, I had to borrow a lot of money. I had to beg even to get the money to buy all these things. It was worth it. Okay, so like right now, I'm talking to you. You can see me clearly. You can hear me clearly. I have another computer which is showing the PowerPoint, stuff like that. All this is part of your home office. So make sure whatever is the kind of freelancing you're doing, you have the bare minimum professional equipment required to do your work. Maybe not immediately, but over time. Invest in your business, invest in your freelancing so you can get better customers, better revenue, and stuff like that. Do not forget to invest back in your business. Okay, don't go stingy on equipment. Trust me, you use bad equipment, and you know what happens? By some good fortune, you get a good customer, good prices, very nice, polite client, and all that. And then the next day, boom, your computer is fried. It stopped working, right? So there you go. You don't want such things. So make sure your equipment, your home office is ready. It is robust. It is reliable, right? Okay, so that is the thing about home office. Moving on, finding new clients, applying for projects. Right now, this is really what matters, isn't it? You set up your account, you have your work desk and everything, and now you're ready to work. And now you have to find clients. Now, as a freelancer, you're always seesawing between two phases. Like you're either working for a client or you're waiting for a client to hire you. It's no different than an ice cream shop or any kind of shop. It's like a movie theater. When there are no movies, what happens to the movie theaters? They literally do nothing. You go to a multiplex during January or February, or in September or in August, where there are no movies. You go to the multiplex, a movie theater, there will be nothing. It'll be like a ghost town, right? As a freelancer, something similar will happen to you. So either you're working for customers or you're waiting for customers. So where do you find clients? How do you apply for projects? Now, here, let's go back to our website. So you have Upwork and Fiverr. See, these two platforms, I'm using this as an example because that is what I use. Now with Fiverr, it's more like a shop where the customer walks into your shop. So you have to literally wait for customers to message you and ask you about, hey man, I want this work. How much do you want? Usually you can set up a video call and stuff like that and then see what happens. So Fiverr is more like a shop. So you have to make sure your Fiverr account looks good. You have to make sure your profile looks good and stuff like that. With Upwork, it is the opposite. So with Upwork, you have to approach the client. So what happens is, now again, hopefully you'll go back and watch the Upwork specific video where I showed you how to do all these things. So in Upwork, what happens? Projects keep coming on the website like a notice board, and then you go ahead and apply. So again, this one is a little bit tricky. So you go back and please watch the video. So the main things is whether it is Upwork or Fiverr, and LinkedIn also operates kind of like Fiverr. Like I've had some customers message me on LinkedIn, like they want to consult with me, they want to talk to me and stuff like that. So it's almost like Fiverr, but the thing is, of course, LinkedIn is just social media. So where you have to take care of your own payments, take care of your own reviews, take care of everything yourself. Whereas on Upwork and Fiverr, these two websites will take a percentage of your income, but in return you get some security, like if something goes wrong, if customer refuses to pay you and stuff like that, these platforms will make sure that you get paid. So that is the advantage with Upwork and Fiverr. So the main things to remember is, okay, so one thing is find your, your niche, if I can say that. You must know what you are trying to sell. Okay. Again, I'll take my own example. So I am a tutor, I'm a coach. Again, tutoring, I mostly do tutoring in programming. And even in programming, I mostly focus on JavaScript and C Sharp. So these are the things I apply. Same thing on Fiverr. In Fiverr, there's this thing called gig. So, I mean, Fiverr says you can have up to 10 gigs, but I think that's impossible. So I have like 2 or 3 gigs focused on what I can do for a customer. So make sure you find what you're good at and only then apply for those projects when it comes to Upwork. Only have those gigs on your Fiverr. Okay, don't try to, like cast a wide net. Don't try to do too many things at the same time. That might make you feel like you're talking to more people. Like, for example, let's say suddenly I say, like, okay, along with C Sharp and JavaScript, I'll also teach Python. I'll also teach C++. I'll also teach PHP. I'll also teach Java. I mean, I know all these things. It doesn't mean I want to work on them. I mean, sure, I'll speak to more people. I talk to more clients. But, you know, clients are usually experienced. They will know when you're not very good at something. So you might feel like you're busy. I've seen a lot of people, especially freelancers, they feel like, hey, you know what? I am so busy talking to customers. So I guess that means that's good. Okay, makes you feel good. But ultimately, how many people are actually hiring? So try to cut down on the volume. Okay. I would rather speak with 1 or 2 clients who I can really work with because of my skills, then speak to 10, 20 clients where I have some half of skills, but eventually nobody's hiring. So that becomes a problem. So that's the main thing, whether it's Upwork or Fiverr, make sure you know what you're selling. And as always, both these platforms, whether LinkedIn or anytime, if it's most of the time it's remote work, so be ready to be good with your communication. I cannot stress this enough. Okay, you have to be good in English. How you'll become good in English? There are many ways. I can't get into that, not today, not in the summary class. You got to figure that out. I think I've spoken about this in this Upwork video. So please have a good English. When you message these people in the beginning, it's always like a chat system. Type in proper English. Now AI is there and AI stuff is there. So it should be easy enough. Once you have gone to the stage of meeting, go ahead for a video call. Whether the client turns on the video call or not, you turn on your camera. Make sure you are presentable. Make sure you put up your best appearance. Look good. There's nothing wrong in looking good. There's nothing wrong in looking presentable. Make sure your background look nice. If you don't have a good background, you can always put a curtain or something, or you can use a virtual background. I also mentioned that because most of the work will happen remotely, not a bad idea to invest in a decent camera or a microphone or just use if you can afford to use an iPad like I do, which has good clarity camera and microphone and all that. Very important, the clients can see you clearly, and of course your internet should be good. Yes, yes, all these things cost money, of course, of course. But don't forget, I also used to be very, very poor. So there will always be challenges. But again, taking my own example, you can overcome them. So all these things, remember, when it comes to these websites and when you apply, when you interact and stuff like that. And of course, I don't want to forget the fact that with each passing year, it seems like things are getting more and more difficult for newcomers and stuff like that. I'm not going to deny that. I definitely agree. And now this year in AI, we spoke about this yesterday as well. It seems like things are getting a little bit difficulter and more and more difficult. But the idea, guys, is that if you are facing problems, okay, it doesn't matter what you do, you're not getting enough clients. They're not even inviting you for an interview. It simply means that whatever skills you have, nobody wants it. So you can't blame the market for it. You can't blame the clients for it. So then you got to take a step back, go back to the drawing board, learn skills which will make you put you in demand. Okay. And I'm going to talk about this at the end of this video. I was just talking to the professor before we started. I'll talk about what I do to keep myself updated. In fact, I'm doing that right now. So I'll talk about it. But ultimately, guys, if you see yourself not getting enough meetings, if you find yourself not getting, nobody's hiring you enough, talking to you and stuff like that, then ultimately it probably means, what skills you're offering has gone out of fashion. So you just got to figure out what is that new thing the market wants and then learn them. Okay. So that's about this one. Now, the next thing is customer service and long-term projects. All right then. So now, whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, whether it was supposed to happen or not, eventually, if you wait long enough, you'll start getting customers. It's like real life. You wait long enough for something, you don't give up. Eventually, what you want will always happen. At least that's how it's been with me. Okay. So once you land some customers, the important thing is, now this is how I have managed to live this freelancing life so long, and I've been freelancing without a job since 2012. So what is my simple secret? It's not a secret because I talk about it all the time. My trick is I always focus on what you see on the slide, long-term projects. Like I meet a client, they just want to say hello. They want to talk to me for an hour or two, and then they meet, they work with me. And then next thing I know, I have a message from them. They're talking about working with me for 3 months, and 3 months becomes 6 months. 6 months becomes 9 months. 9 months becomes a year. And next thing I know, they want me again for next year. For example, with AIU, I only met them. It was supposed to be one session. I still remember it was almost like, I think it was September 2022, I think. It was like, it's supposed to be one session, and now it's February 2024, and God willing, AIU willing, I'll be back with more sessions after my break. So there you go. A one-time interaction converting into long-term project. Now, what do I do? What is it? What is happening here? And this has happened many, many times. Okay. For me, I think it is customer service. Okay. Now, everybody knows about customer service, right? When you're working with a client, even if it's a one-time client, do simple things. Like for example, what is good customer service? When you have a problem, you solve it promptly. When you do your job, you do it promptly. Like for example, a customer wants me to do something. Say there's a meeting, right? If the meeting is at 7 p.m., I'm ready to go at 6:30 p.m. I'm early by 30 minutes. Okay. The client wants something to be done by Friday. You know what? I finish it by Wednesday. Why not? It's okay. I mean, of course, the client wanted by Friday, so the client wasn't expecting it on Wednesday, but I'll do it by Wednesday anyway. You know what? The customer is happy. I get paid on Wednesday. I get the next work on Thursday itself. So the customer is happy. I got paid early, I made some money early. And sometimes clients can become very, very happy and they even give you extra money. There you go, problem solved. So then what happens? A 1 week becomes a month, and you keep doing this consistency. Customer service is not like, okay, when everything is new, this happens a lot with freelancers. When things are new, people are like really prompt and excited and, hey, you know what? Yes. But then after a month, people are like, they get slow, they start missing deadlines, they start coming late to meetings. Don't do that. Don't do that. Be as prompt and punctual as you are 1 month later, as you are on the first day. Again, example is AIU, whether it was 2022, the first session, or today, I'm early by 30 minutes. You know what? I don't care. I'll just sit in front of my desk. I'll just, drink some, I have some coconut water here. I'll drink coconut water. I'm in front of my computer 30 minutes early. I don't care if I'm getting bored. I am always early. And then every session, if there's a question going on, goes on another 10-15 minutes. It's okay. I'm only, I'm being hired for an hour, but it's okay. I'll speak for an extra 10 minutes, an extra 20 minutes. So what? It's okay. Keep your client happy on the first day, after 6 months, after 1 year, after 2 years. Be prompt. That is what I mean by customer service. When you do these things, a small client, a single client, a one-time client becomes your partner, becomes your long-term client. So money keeps coming in, work keeps coming in. So that is really how I have survived, my dear students, for so long, without a job and just freelancing. So if you think you can do this, then, if you keep getting long-term clients all the time, for me, it's been happening since 2012, then maybe you can make a lot of money just by freelancing. Although, again, going back to my first slide, I don't recommend full-time freelancing. Okay, please don't do that. Please make sure you get a job and only do freelancing as a side hustle. Because I'm sorry, guys, I'm telling you, I've seen people who try to, do what I do and stuff like that. Many people forget that, I already have a house. I don't have any debt. So a lot of problems which other people have, I don't have. So in that way, I'm a little lucky. So don't try to do this full time. Focus on side gigs. Focus as a, like when you're unemployed or something until you get a job. So don't forget that. Now this is Professor Lambert's favorite topic. We actually did like 2 or 3 sessions on Trello. It was supposed to be a one-time session, but Professor Lambert got really excited and he said that he wants me to go deeper into Trello. Professor Lambert, do you remember, sir? Yes, he's nodding. I can see that. Yes. So, guys, there was a lot of excitement about this. I had no idea that so many students found this useful. So please go back and watch. We made 2 sessions, I believe, on Trello. Very, very important. Remember when I told you about long-term clients? Okay, how you have to be prompt, consistency for many, many months and all that. For me, along with my usual disciplined lifestyle, what really makes my delivery, punctuality, and all that is Trello. Now, there are many project management tools, like so many project management tools, okay, crazy amount of project management tools. But for me, all the way from 2015, I think, maybe even before that, I've been using Trello for personal life, for professional life, for client projects and all that. And I've even made some tutoring sessions on Trello and made some money teaching people how to use Trello as well. So there you go. So please learn to use project management tools. And my recommendation is Trello. It is free. Okay, the free version does not have any limitations for a freelancer. You can use it a lot forever. Okay, it works on computer, it works on iPhone, it works on iPad, it works on Android, all those places. And like I said, it can make your life, including personal life, really, really good. So again, there's a dedicated video for it, 2 hours, 2 sessions actually. Go back and check it out, on the YouTube and on your student dashboard and all those things. Now we come to my favorite topic in terms of what can really take you to the next level. Okay, Now, that is social media presence. I've talked about this many, many times. So whenever I know, like I said, at the end of every session and many times during the session, I tell people, like, you want to know more about me, just Google my name, right? And that is my business card. Like whenever I meet a client or something, almost like, client is like, Jay, do you have your contact details or something? And I'm always like, hey, you know what, guys? Just Google my name. It's so cool. I think it's cool. I don't know. I'm an old guy. It could be a lame, cool thing, but it's cool for me. So I just tell my clients, or if I go to meet somebody and they're like, Jay, what happened, man? Come on, give me your card or something. Hey, no, man, just Google my name. You'll find me. Okay. That is what I'm talking about. Social media presence. On this, we have made a couple of sessions on this as well. So hopefully you'll check it out. Main thing is social media presence means people should be able to know about you even before you meet them, right? Whenever I'm about to meet a client for the first time, like usually there'll be some chat messages or something, or an email maybe, or a friend is referring me, or an old client is referring a new client. I just let them know, like, guys, you know what? You have my name, just Google it. And they Google it. They find out about my blog. They find out about my YouTube channel. They find out about my award and stuff. There's so much of my stuff is there online, like my podcast and everything. So this helps you because, see, when you're talking to a client, I'm telling you, you have maybe 5 minutes. And if the client is being patient, 10 minutes to chit chat. That's it. A new client will give you 5 minutes to make an impression. And that's it. If you can make a good impression in that 5 minutes, and then you will get hired. Okay, it doesn't matter how skilled you are. If the vibes are not matched.
Hello, hello, Jay. Are you here? Okay, looks like we're going to have to wait a second here. Looks like Jay has a disconnection. Disconnected the network. He'll be back soon. I wish I could pause the recording, but cannot. Can I? No, I cannot. Nope. So get your questions ready. In about 10 minutes, we're going to start the questions and answers. Jay, are you here yet? We cannot hear you. Cannot see you. So we'll just be patient. I guess in the meantime. Oh,
Professor, I'm sorry. I'm
are you
sorry.
back?
I don't know what happened. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, can see you and hear you.
I apologize, guys. I apologize. It looks like there was a momentary internet restart, something. Sorry. Okay. So coming back. So what I was saying was, you have maybe 5 minutes or something to make an impression, but if they can find you online, if they can find your blog, you can find your YouTube channel, if they can find your podcast, all these things, they have more time to know about you. So, which means when the time comes for the interview session, for the interview call, they already know about you. They already know how you speak. They already know how you write. They already know what you're capable of. So your entire job is made easy. Instead of talking about stuff, a lot of clients will jump directly to negotiating the prices and stuff like that. So that is really how social media presence can really help you. And now, of course, it can have an opposite effect as well. Like, what if they don't like your style? What if they don't like the way you speak. A couple of times I've had some students and many clients as well. They're like, Jay, you talk too much, or I am too animated, or I am too energetic. Yeah, it happens. Some clients maybe they're looking for a quiet freelancer, and that's okay. Anyway, it's not gelling. So then the client might say, even before you meet, Jay, you know what? You're not going to be a good fit for us, which is good for me, good for the client because they can reject me without wasting their time and my time. So I don't think of that as a negative thing because ultimately, as a freelancer, I'm always looking for long term clients. I don't want a short term client, I want a long term client. So for me, the client liking me, the client understanding me is very important. So there you go, folks. That is what I mean by social media presence, which really means you must make an effort um, to build and maintain your social media presence. So we've already talked about this, in the previous session, but just to quickly mention it, for me, what has worked is blogs. I write a lot. I write a lot. I write about my tutoring. I write about programming. I write about all the things I'm talking about. I have a podcast on freelancing and all that. I talk about these things. I have a YouTube channel where I talk about it. So all these things. I have Instagram channel again that I have. So podcast, blogging, YouTube channel, and of course sharing this on social media like LinkedIn. So all these things. So you can choose what works for you. So if you are a designer, maybe you should focus on Instagram and TikTok. If you are a coding person like me, focus on GitHub, focus on blogging, write articles about coding and stuff like that. YouTube channel, record your coding sessions and put it on your YouTube channel. Let people see what you're capable of. So like this, choose your social media weapons, social media tools based on what you're trying to do with your side gig. Choose what works for you. Okay, if you're a musician, there are a lot of music. I believe I'm not a musician, so I don't know. I'm sure there are SoundCloud. Yeah. I was working with a music artist once. He was talking about this SoundCloud. So if you're a musician, so make sure you put all your music on SoundCloud or something, and then share it on Instagram, TikTok, or things like that. So there you go, folks. So make sure you have a good social media presence, okay, and then your name will start showing up on Google and stuff like that. If it doesn't show up on Google, then I'm sorry. Like if you have a common name, it's very difficult on Google. Like I have a very unique name. I mean, most Indians have unique names because our names are unique. So it's a little bit easy to do social media and SEO for our names. Maybe it's not possible for you, but you can still have social media presence and stuff like that. Now, the last thing which we just talked about yesterday is, of course, now this was not there when we started this series. I mean, AI was there. There were some small interactions happening and stuff like that, but it isn't as huge as it is now. Now, there's not a single day of freelancing that I work on these days where I don't use AI. Okay, that is how much this has become part of my lifestyle now, right? Like I'm working. I mentioned I'm working as a curriculum designer for this startup in US right now. And when I started, there was no AI usage. But then, as the work started ramping up, AI costs money. I talked about it yesterday. Hopefully, you'll watch that video. Um, but whatever I'm spending, like $30 or $40 per month on AI, it is boosting my work for my client by 20 to 30%, right? And what does that mean? That means I was able to finish the work for my client that much faster, and then I was able to take on more work, and I was able to ask for more money for the extra work done. So it is just one example of how I am able to. Now I'm already taking advantage of AI, and I expect as time goes, I'll be taking advantage of AI more and more and more. So I insist to my students, who are watching now, who will watch later, please do not ignore it. And of course, There are some drawbacks, some of the work, even though I'm a kind of like, highly skilled and all that, some of my work is being taken away by AI. Because like a lot of times I used to make some money, not too much money, but some money, teaching beginning programming to students. But I believe now a lot of these students, like first time students, they are able to take these AI tutors, and they are taking away my work and money. It's okay. It's okay. Every good thing comes a bad thing. So I'm losing out on some of my revenue because some of the simple teaching, which would give me some money, that's going away. But fortunately, whatever is going away, I'm able to make more money than that by teaching advanced things, which fortunately I know. So that's where I say, please take advantage of AI and don't run away from it, because you can't. Okay, it's not going anywhere. It's like smartphones, like I remember when we were young and smartphones were new, a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to use smartphones, I don't want to use it. But now they are everywhere. Can you imagine life without smartphones now? Impossible, impossible, right? Same thing with AI. I feel like it's going to become part of our life, so better get used to it, right? So
So
that is
are you
what I
saying
wanted to say.
it's good to learn to use it, but you may
Yeah,
not be
yeah, that's
able,
right, Professor Lambert. Yes, sir.
but be careful, because you might not have a job available to you because it's already doing that work for other people.
That's right, Professor. So what I'm saying is, on one side, some of the things that I used to do as a freelancer is already been removed from the market because the clients are able to get it done by AI. So that is the one aspect of the AI thing. At the same time, another aspect is I am able to use AI to get my work done faster, and hence I'm able to get more work from the client. And because I'm working faster, I'm able to claim higher prices as well. So whatever was taking 10 hours to complete, I'm now able to finish it in 8 hours or 7 hours. So I am saving my client 3 hours of time. So one, I'm able to take more work on, so I'm getting more money. And at the same time, because my productivity has increased, I'm able to negotiate with my client that, hey man, look, my productivity is higher now, so I would request my price to be increased.
So now, as you look forward to these next couple of months that you're going to take some time off to reevaluate
Yes,
and
sir.
relearn, do you have a sense of what you're going to learn, or are you just gonna, is that going to
Yes.
be
So
part
let
of
me
like
just put that as a
the first
slide there,
step?
Professor, while I talk about it.
Okay.
So guys, this is something we just came up like just before I started. So I'm gonna put that as a time off for upskilling. I hope that's a valid title, Professor, for the slide. I think that's okay. Um, uh, uh, so,
Yeah, that's okay.
so yes, yes. Okay, guys, this is something I am doing. But before the session started, Professor said it may be worth of some use to you guys as well. So what I do is, now a little bit of flashback, going back to 2012 when I started. Okay. Now, how it works, my life is, a lot of times what happens is, for 12 months or 18 months, I will have like non-stop work. Maybe it's a single client who's giving me a lot of work for 18 months, or maybe it's a combination of two or three clients, like one after another, one after another. They're hiring me, like two, three clients together for 18 months or something. And then what happens? I don't know how, suddenly maybe there's a recession or something else happened. I don't know. Suddenly the work will go down from, say, this much to this much. So whenever I see something like that happening, what I do is, usually this happens every 12 months to 18 months, or sometimes 2 years. So what I do is, whenever I feel like for whatever reason the work is going down, what I do is I kind of close all the contracts, like say goodbye, which is very important, by the way. Please understand that, please don't break up with your client in a bad way. Always say goodbye, always be nice to a client, because many of my clients, they've come back to me after many years and given me more work, or they tell other people about me and they give me more work. So always have a good goodbye with your clients. So anyway, so what I do is, so every 12, 18 months, every 2 years or something, when I feel like there's a lull, in the work. So there's a gap there. It could be 2 months, it could be 3 months. Luckily, I have some savings. As I said, I don't have that many problems or something financially. So what I do is I go ahead and upskill myself because the world is changing. Technology is changing. Like right now, yesterday and today, I mentioned that AI is taking away some of my work. Now, obviously, that is a little bit of a concern for me. But again, this is not new, though. Things have always been taken away from freelancers. That's just how the world works, right? So, what am I planning to do, guys? So, one thing is, I plan to spend the next 2 to 4 months going deeper into this AI plus automation. And a lot of the projects we are getting in the software world is about adding AI to existing projects. Okay, like for example, just yesterday I was talking to another client. I don't think they was going to hire me, but I just applied anyway because see what happens. What they said was they have a document processing project, and what they're trying to do is they're trying to add AI to summarize the content. Like have you guys gone to Amazon website recently? Like if you go to the review section, right at the top, there'll be a small 2 to 4 paragraph that says this is a summary of all the reviews generated using AI. I see a lot of other websites, other projects trying to do that. So we are seeing a lot of projects where you already have a software, like a company, and they want to add AI to their project. So which means right now I don't know how to do it. So one of the many things I want to do is I want to understand how can I add chat GPT into an existing project? How can I add an image generator to a photo project? So this is one of the many things I need to learn. Like there are all these new AI libraries, like for example, a few years ago, those of you who are in coding, you'll understand that they have this thing called code generators. Okay, it was not there 10 years ago. So and then when I started freelancing, this code generator was very new and I learned it really really fast. And there are so many developers who are older than me, they are finding it very difficult to use code generators. So something that you would do in a full day using code generators, you could do it in like 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes, 10 minutes. And then people are like, wow, man, that is amazing, right? I'm talking about just a simple generator. And now the AI is doing something similar, but on a higher level. So there are a lot of AI tools for coding, the AI tools for programming, all these things. I have no idea how to use it. I mean, I have some general knowledge, but I don't know to add it to existing projects. I may have to learn some new libraries and stuff like that, and so on. And sometimes the programming, like right now when I'm coding, AI is going to try to help me programming. Now, how does that work? I have some idea, but I don't have it too much of idea. So maybe I need to learn that as well. So my plan is very simple. I'm literally going to sit down for the next 2 to 4 months, get my expensive gaming computers. As I mentioned yesterday, if you're going to do research on AI, you need to have expensive gaming computers. Fortunately, I have them in my home office. So I'm going to use those things, in 2 to 1 months, become like a guru, AI guru. And maybe if AI wants it, I do some sessions on that as well. So that's my plan, Professor Lambert. That is really my idea, sir. What I'm going to do in the next 2 to 4 months. Like I've seen how the industry is changing, and I plan to sit down, do all these things, make myself better, and maybe even collect some certificate like Microsoft, AWS, Google. They have all these certificates on AI, professor. So right now I don't have any of them. So in the next 2 to 4 months, I collect some 4 or 5 certificates, put it on my resume, write some blogs, put it on my LinkedIn. All the better for me. And well, there you go. So that is what I plan to do, Professor. I hope that's what you're expecting, sir.
There's probably some other things too, is that some people are being bombarded with AI news from around the world. It's like there's AI bots that grab news from around the world and then start throwing it out as good, real news, but it's just kind of like hearsay. So maybe one thing you can study is how to protect oneself from bad news sources. that are using AI?
I guess
I don't. So you're trying to think, how can you
I
make money off of that? But maybe you have a client that would want that.
I don't know, Professor. I haven't experienced it here in India, maybe. So,
Well, like there was the person did this video about how this one company could sell itself and how they would do it, and then this advertising news bot in China grabbed that video and created a whole new video exactly from what that guy was putting forward, as if the company had been sold. And it was
right,
completely
right, right.
false, but based upon an idea about selling a company.
Okay, okay. So, one thing, Professor, is this is that what you mentioned, sir. There is that might actually be an opportunity for those who want to take advantage of it. Again, in a very legal way, like as AI becomes more and more used, sir, there is now a you can think of it as an offshoot, like where there is now a lot of work being done on how to detect the fake stuff that
Right.
is being generated by AI. So
Like around the world, even in the United States, there's a lot of news being created by AI that's not real. And so if you could sell an application just for people to put on their phones to block and notify this was created falsely by AI, it would make money.
there you go, Professor. Yes, sir. So there is actually, like, now that AI is kind of reaching its what it can do kind of thing, and people are beginning to realize all these other things. So I suppose there is actually some freelancing opportunity there to start working on things which will detect these bad stuff. So that might be something. In fact, I haven't thought about it, Professor, but now that you mention it, I am sure I'll run into that in my time of upskilling. For all I know, that might be the next project I work on. Maybe I'll end up working for a project where they're building some software to detect AI image from, say, a real image. So that could be a money-making opportunity.
Because I think as you learn how to incorporate AI into looking at documents and videos and summarizing them, you'll also figure out a way to identify that stuff and create an app so other people could learn how to identify it too.
I agree with you, Professor. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's not only a money making opportunity. I feel like it'll become a necessity.